Good evening. I hope I am audible and visible to all of you. Now, today's session, I'm basically going to talk about TSPSC Group 1, Group 2, the exam pattern, what are the different subjects that you have, what type of questions were asked over the last exams. Group 2, we had two exams, one in 2016, the other in 2024. Then Group 1, we had one exam in 2024, but we had three prelims: 2022, 2023, and 2024. So, what is the syllabus? What are the various areas that we have? All these details we are going to discuss in this session. The idea in this session is to give you a complete picture of TSPSC Group 1, Group 2, syllabus, approach, pattern of questions, how do you prepare? Okay. Now, what I'll do is I'll first begin with my orientation. We will, as we move forward, I'll ask you whenever I ask you any doubt you have, big or small, please feel free to ask me. Now, let's begin with TSPSC Group 1. First, let me tell you the structure of the exam. TSPSC Group 1 is a two-stage exam. The first stage is prelims, in which you have one paper which is called General Studies and Ability. Okay, and General Ability. This is for 150 marks. Please remember, no negative marking. 150 questions will be there. Now, prelims, if you clear, this is a qualifying exam. If you clear prelims, then you have mains. In mains, we actually have 7 papers, but one is qualifying. The first paper is qualifying. This is qualifying English paper. What do I mean by qualifying paper? A qualifying paper is one which you have to clear in order to get your other papers evaluated. However, the marks you score in this paper will not be added to your aggregate. Prelims is also a qualifying paper. You have to clear prelims in order to write mains, but prelims score will not be added to your final score. Okay. English qualifying paper, then you have general essay, which will be your paper 1. Then you have Indian history, Telangana history, and geography as paper 2. Okay. Then we have polity, constitution, governance, and society as paper 3. Okay. And then we have Indian economy, TG economy, environmental issues as paper 4. Paper 5 basically has SNT, biotechnology, both together for 100 marks, and then DI, data interpretation. And the last is movement. Paper 6 is movement. Okay, so these are the 6 papers that we have: paper 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The importance of knowing this structure is this structure will tell you what all subjects you have in your syllabus, how you should prepare these subjects. I mean, what is the weightage of these areas? Now, let's come to the weightage. Okay. General essay, all 6 papers are for 150 marks into 6. So, you're going to write your mains exam for 900 marks. Any idea what was the topper mark this time? The group 1 topper mark this time was 552. So how much percentage you are expected to get to top the exam? Around 55 to 60% if you score, you will actually top the exam. I hope I'm clear with this part of my explanation. Now, moving forward, let's understand what is there in mains, whether you should study from prelims to mains or from mains to prelims. Before that, let me give you a clarification. In this session, I'm going to take for both group 1 and group 2. First, let me finish with group 1. Then we will talk about group 2 and then we will talk about integrated preparation for both. Okay. Remember, it should always be a mains to prelims approach. What do I mean by this? It does not mean that you're going to sit down and write a descriptive answers. It means that you should be thorough with your main syllabus. If you're thorough with your main syllabus, automatically your prelim syllabus will be covered, because a majority of the questions that are asked, see, prelims law, you will not have a detailed syllabus. They'll just mention. They'll say Indian history, modern Indian history. They'll say Indian geography, world geography, Indian geography, Telangana geography. That's all. They will not say what in Telangana geography, what in Indian geography, that they will not tell us. But in mains, the syllabus is more detailed. In mains, you will get all the topics that are expected to be covered. So you have to refer to the main syllabus even for prelims. Now let's understand what all are there in mains papers. Let's go topic paper wise. Let's start with the first paper, paper 1. As I said, is general essay. Most important paper, I don't know if you're aware, whenever there is a tie in the marks of two students are scoring the same mark, then how will Public Service Commission decide who will come first and who will come second? The answer is, how much do they score in general essay? If imagine candidate A has got 102 in general essay and candidate B has got 100, then candidate A will be awarded the better rank than candidate B. This is how general essay works. General essay is very, very important. Now, general essay basically has 6 themes. Okay. And each theme, 2 themes, you'll have 3 questions. You should answer 1 question. Okay. Again, 2 themes, you'll have 3 questions. You'll have to answer 1 question. Again, 2 themes, you'll have 3 questions and you'll have to answer 1 question. What do I mean by themes? Like India's history and culture. Indian history and culture is a theme. Dynamics of Indian politics is a theme. Human resources is a theme. Then you have social justice and economic growth as a theme. So like this, you have 6 themes. All these 6 themes are related to the syllabus that you have in your remaining 4 papers. And paper 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever areas you have, you will have the same themes here. Okay. Now the difference is here 150 marks is divided like this. For every essay, you will have 50 marks. Okay. And the Public Service Commission has specifically said that you should write 1,000 words maximum for an essay. You should not go beyond 1,000 words. The maximum that you can write for an essay is 1,000 words. Okay. Now the advantage, disadvantage of essay, when should you start preparing? I'll tell you. Never start preparing essay in the first go. You should never prepare for essay in the first instance. If you are a fresher, never ever start with essay. Okay, because when you have to write on a particular topic, you need a lot of information about that topic. For example, women is a favorite topic in essay, be it UPSC, be it state PSCs. They ask about women related issues, problems. For example, the most important issue with regard to women right now in India is the Women's Reservation Bill, which has been approved by the Parliament. Now, for example, if they want to give an essay on women, you know, the general status of women in India or the social problems related to women in India, you have to read a lot of things. For example, if the essay says women in India are unsafe within the womb and outside the womb, and they want you to write an essay on this statement, it basically talks about the various problems that women in India face right from their conception till their death, which includes female feticide and infanticide. It includes child marriages, malnourishment, limited education or no education, sexual harassment. So, like this, you'll have a number of problems. All these problems you will actually read as part of society. It is there in your society syllabus. So, ideally, what I should do is I should first finish society, my syllabus that is given under paper 3, and then I come back and practice essays related to social problems in India. This is how you have to do. Essay has to be completed after a particular area is completed. That is the reason why in Shikara, not a single person does not teach essay. I don't believe that one person can justify essay when you have different themes. For example, when it comes to dynamics of Indian politics, I will teach it because I am an expert in Indian polity. So I decide what all should be taught to you, what essays should be covered. Once I finish polity and then I take up essays, it is easy for you to write. You'll know how to write. You'll have the content required to write because remember, here you have to write 1,000 words. So this is about general essay. Now moving on, after general essay, the second paper, paper 2. And from here on, all papers we have the same pattern. Paper 2, we have Indian history, Telangana history, and we have geography. In geography, the first 2 units are related to India, the remaining units are related to Telangana. Geography has been newly added in the syllabus and perhaps the most challenging part in this paper. Okay, now let's look at how we understand Chach. How we understand geography, how do we understand the approach. But before that, I would like to give you the pattern for the remaining papers, how the pattern is going to be. See, for paper 2, 3, 4, and 6, this is going to be the pattern. I have not written 5 because 5 the pattern changes. Paper 2, 3, 4, 6, you have 3 sections and the 3 subjects are there. So you basically have 3 sections, and 6, though it is one subject, it is divided into 3 sections. For example, in paper 2, section A is Indian history. In Indian history, the pattern will be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of which 1 and 2 are compulsory questions. 3 will have an internal choice of A or B. 4 will have an internal choice of A or B. 5 will have an internal choice of A or B. So like this, we have internal choices. Okay, 1 and 2 are compulsory. The same thing will happen with section B. In section B, 6 and 7 will be compulsory. 8, 9, 10 will have internal choice. For all these papers, it is going to be the same. Okay, like this, we have internal choice A or B. And section C also is the same: 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We will have A or B. A or B. A or B. So this is how we will have in 2, 3, 4, and 6. 5 law, what happens is the first 2 sections will be like this. The third section, which is DI, it will have 30 questions, out of which you should answer 25 questions, each of 2 marks weightage, which will be 50 marks. So this is how DI is. This is the exam pattern. Are you clear? Do you have any doubts till here? Did you understand the exam pattern, how the paper will be asked? Clear with this? Any doubts you have, please let me know. Feel free to talk to me. You can ask me in Telugu also. I don't have a problem. Okay, Shashank. Now moving forward, Indian history, Telangana history, and geography. These 3 areas, 50 marks weightage each. Okay. You are supposed to in total write 15 questions. Okay. And you have 180 minutes. So technically for each question, you will not get more than 10 to 12 minutes. You know, you have to read the question, understand frame the structure and start writing, for which answer writing is very, very important. And we have dedicated answer writing sessions. In fact, from the last batch, we've introduced live answer writing sessions where we make the student write answers in the class, because that will help you to understand the importance of time. So like this, we have paper 2, paper 3, again, you have 3 areas: polity, geography, society. Now, a small caution: when you look at your syllabus, there is a lot of overlap in your syllabus. What do I mean by overlap? A particular topic, you will see it repeated in several subjects. For example, Telangana culture will be asked as part of history. It will be asked as part of society. It will also be asked as part of Telangana movement. Okay. Likewise, there will be a lot of overlap between polity and governance, polity and society. Because, see, I'm not getting into the individual subjects. You must be wondering why I'm not getting into the details of the subjects, because from tomorrow onwards, each teacher will give an orientation, will give a detailed analysis of their subject. So I'm going to do it on polity, governance, society, movement. The history faculty will do on his respective subject. So like this, we are going to do a detailed analysis of the subjects. Each of us will do. This will give you a clarity as to what is the syllabus and how do we head with it. Like this, we have in paper 3, paper 4, I've already written, paper 5, I've already written, paper 6 is movement, Telangana movement and state formation. Now moving forward, let me just tell you what is prelims like. In prelims, these are the areas that you have: social exclusion, Telangana culture, socio-economic development, sciences and science and technology, geography. These are the various areas that you have. Social exclusion is part of society. Telangana culture will come under history, movement, society. I take up Telangana culture as separate classes because it has to be taught in detail. I usually spend around 20-25 hours. There will be a lot of topics in it. Dialects will be there, movies, songs, jataras, festivals of Telangana, Telangana GI tags, handlooms and handicrafts. Then we have prominent places in Telangana. All these things will come under Telangana culture. This overlaps with these areas. Socio-economic development is basically related to Indian economy. Sciences and science and technology comes under science and technology, geography, environment, mental ability, current affairs. IR is there only for prelims. IR should be read only from prelims perspective, and the weightage of IR will not be more than 5 marks. 5 to 6 marks maximum, and most of them will be current based. Disaster management was not asked in 2024. Indian polity, you had 12, Indian history 7, governance, you had 5 questions. Governance, you have to take from the governance syllabus and study. And Telangana state policies, there were 3 questions. Okay. Likewise, we will have the same analysis of 2023 and 2022. Okay. Now the question is, you can ask me, ma'am, why do we need to know this breakup? I'll tell you why you need to know this breakup. See, you have 100 marks. Okay. And you have your 10 hours of time. Okay. Imagine each subject is for 1 hour. Okay. You have to almost spend, each subject is for 10 marks. You almost have to spend 1 hour on each subject. So, your allocation of time to a particular subject will depend on the weightage of that subject. The first consideration should be the weightage. The second consideration will be the nature of the subject. For example, if you have a subject like economy has too many facts. Do you agree with me that if I tell you that you need more revisions for economy because you have to memorize facts? Is it correct? For history, you need more time because it is vast and there are a lot of facts. But take a subject like governance. Governance is more about understanding the concepts. Governance is more about relating. For example, in governance, you study why do you need a state secretariat? Why is there a PMO? Why is there a cabinet secretariat? So when I explain PMO does this, Cabinet Secretariat does this, and I explain the relationship between them. It is easier for you to understand because we relate to it. You don't have to revise it the way you revise economy or history. I hope you're following what I'm telling you. So, weightage is very, very, very important for you. Weightages should be taken into consideration. Now, let me explain the pattern of Group 2. Then we will go forward and I'll tell you what kind of questions were asked, from where you should generally start studying the syllabus and all that. Now, TSPSC Group 2 is a single stage exam. I'll also address the discussion that is going on a syllabus change, whether it is there or not, also I'll address. Now, single stage exam where you have 4 papers. Paper 1 is general studies. Paper 2 has Indian history for 30 marks, TG history for 20 marks, Indian polity for 50 marks, Indian society for 50 marks. And paper 3 has Indian economy for 50 marks, Telangana economy for 50 marks. There is an area called development and change, which is an overlap of economy, environment, ecology, environment, development, sustainable development, and all that, which is for 50 marks. And then paper 4 is Telangana movement and state formation. Now, the first thing, see, no student will write only Group 1 or only Group 2. There might be people who will write only Group 2, but there will be very few people who will write Group 1 only. Unless they are already serving as Group 2 officers, they will not write only Group 1. So, majority of the students will write Group 1, Group 2, Group 3. Group 3, I'm not talking because Group 3, whatever syllabus is there, it is imbibed in Group 2. If you prepare for Group 2, you can aram se close your eyes and write Group 3. So I'm not talking about Group 3. I'm only talking about Group 2 and Group 1. And most of the students will write both Group 1 and Group 2. When you have to prepare integratedly, you must have noticed that majority of the areas are the same. There are only 2 additions, 2 exclusive areas that also overlap, but we have to prepare separately. One is development and change. The second area is in GS, you will have English, which is roughly of a weightage of 20 marks. These are 2 areas you have to prepare additionally if you're preparing for Group 1, for Group 2. Ante separate ga prepare avval. Otherwise, all that you study for Group 1 is more than enough to clear the remaining subjects in Group 2. The syllabus will also be nearly the same. That is the reason what we are doing at Shikara is we are integrating Group 1 and Group 2. We are ensuring that all the syllabus for Group 2 is covered, every detail is covered, every fact is covered, tests are given accordingly, and then we again have Group 1 separately taught. So Group 2 and Group 1 integrated we are doing. Those who want to take only Group 2 can take Group 2 only, but otherwise if you are preparing for Group 1, I will insist that you prepare for Group 2 also, finish off these areas in Group 2 also, because you're going to write both the area, both the subjects. Okay. Now, this is about the paper pattern. Now, coming to the weightage, each paper is for 150 marks. So, you're writing for 600 marks. Please remember, 600 marks, you're writing the exam. And there is no negative marking. I don't know, a lot of them have an apprehension that there is negative marking. Negative marking is not there in Telangana. So there is no negative marking in Group. Okay. Now coming to the questions that were asked previously, these are the weightage of the questions. Otherwise, paper 2, 3, 4, they stuck to the weightage. I'm not getting into how much was the weightage for paper 2, 3, and 4. Paper 1, current affairs, Telangana culture, if you see, most of the topics are the same, except for governance, majority of them are the same, and English is an add-on in Group 2. Likewise, for Group 2, 2024, this is the weightage, this is the division. Current affairs, we had 26, Telangana culture was 8, Telangana state policies 4, social exclusion 6, geography, Indian history, IR, this has been the breakup. Now I'll give you a couple of minutes. Think and tell me if you have any doubts that you want me to talk about on whatever I've explained till now. Please let me know. Any doubts that you have, anything that you're not clear with respect to whatever I've told you, please let me know. No doubt. Either it is too clear or it is too unclear. What is the situation? Okay, good. Now moving forward, let's understand how do we begin our preparation? Where do we begin? I assume all of you are beginners. All of you have not done your preparation earlier. Is my assumption correct? For a beginner, okay, where do we start the preparation? Let's understand this. The first thing that you have to know is you have to know the syllabus in detail. The syllabus will be uploaded in it is already uploaded in the app. We will share the link of the app, or tomorrow in the class itself, I'll share the syllabus. Please ensure that you download the syllabus, read the syllabus. You have to know the syllabus by heart. It is very, very important. The reason why you have to know the syllabus by heart, I'll tell Shashank, I'll come to those questions. I'll come to those questions, okay? Why you should know the syllabus by heart is, for not anything, you join any institute, you join here, you join outside. Should you know whether they are completing the syllabus completely or not? You should know, right? At least for that, you have to know. On a lighter note, I said that, but otherwise, knowing the syllabus will help you to understand what you should read, because whatever is directly mentioned in the syllabus will be asked in your exam. So knowing the syllabus will help you to understand what you should read in that subject, what is relevant to your exam in current affairs also. So first thing that you have to do is understand the syllabus. That is the reason why we are going to spend the next 2-3 days understanding the syllabus of each subject. The second thing that you have to do is you have to understand where to start. Now I'll tell you where to start. See, for any competitive exam, there are 4 core areas. In fact, there are 5, but we consider 4 more important, because the remaining areas will be related to these 4 core areas. And in these 4 core areas, you have what you have read in social studies in your school. Can any one of you tell me what did you read in social studies in your 7, 8, 9, 10 classes? What all came under social studies? What all have come under social studies? Yes, any idea? Do you remember under social studies, you read history, you read economy, you read geography, and finally you read civics, which we call as polity. Okay. Civics is nothing but polity. These are the 4 core areas that we have read in school. Okay. Remember, your preparation should begin with these 4 areas. Why am I saying these 4 areas? Because all other areas in your syllabus are somewhere linked to these 4 areas. For example, you have society. Okay. When I have to discuss society, I have to discuss caste system in society. There is a topic called caste in social problems in India. I have to discuss the evolution of caste system. I have to discuss the nature of caste system. Where will I start when I discuss my evolution of caste system? I should start with the Aryan period, early Vedic period, and the later Vedic period, because the caste system in India evolved as the Varna system. The origin of Varna system is traced to the Aryan period, that is the early Vedic period. So, like this, I have to refer to history. Okay. Then again, there is a topic in society which says government initiatives, measures for SCs, BCs, children, women, and so on. So when I talk about government measures for example, tribes, I have to talk about Forest Rights Act. I have to talk about PESA. I have to talk about the various schemes that have been initiated by the government on for the tribes. When I'm talking about laws, what am I referring to? I'm referring to polity. When I'm talking about schemes, what subject am I referring to? I'm referring to economy. So this is how all other subjects, this is society. Governance is totally rooted in polity. Constitution is the basis for the governance of this country. Without understanding Constitution, without understanding the provisions of the Constitution, there is no way you can study governance. So governance is rooted in polity. Now coming to environment. Environment by and large was considered as a part of geography earlier, but now because of its expansion, environment as a subject has expanded a lot. We have in environment, we have environment related laws, we have policies of the government and so on. That is the reason why we are considering it as a separate subject. But otherwise, the core of environment, the concepts of environment, they come from geography. So like this, every other subject you talk about, it is related to these. In fact, you will be surprised if I tell you that even Telangana movement and state formation will be easier if you understand polity. So this is how we look at the four core areas. Always begin with the four core areas. Out of these four, what should you pick? I would suggest pick history, because history people feel is very vast. And once you finish off with history, you are at ease. Okay. Or pick polity and geography. Economy, I will not suggest initially, because economy is a little dry as a subject. You'll not be able to take economy as easily as you can take to history or polity or geography. So any of the core areas. And another fifth core area that we talk about is sciences. Sciences and science and technology. We teach biology, physics, chemistry, and then move on to science and technology, because without these concepts of biology, physics, chemistry, it is difficult to study and understand science and technology. So always begin with these core areas. Okay. Now, the next thing that you have to do along with these three core areas is paper reading. I know there are a lot of options available in the market. You get a lot of books and so on, but nothing can replace paper reading. At least the main headings of the day, the key issues in the newspaper, you should read. You know why? Especially those students who are preparing for Group 1. The reason is, when you read a newspaper, you will have the language that is used in newspaper is formal. For you to understand this, I'll give you a small example. I am your teacher and you have your friends. Do you think the way you talk to your friends and your informal group will be the same the way you talk to me as a teacher? Do you think there will be a difference, or do you think it is going to be the same? Will there be a difference in the way you speak to me and that group, or do you think it is going to be the same? Will you use the same language? Will you use the same words? Not language, but will you use the same words? Will your tone be the same, the way you talk to your friends and the way you talk to me? Obviously, there is a difference. You should be more formal in a formal environment. Likewise, in your exam, when you're writing answers, they don't expect you to write extremely good English, Oxford English, not required. Basic English, formal English without grammatical errors is what is expected. So you will be able to develop this kind of language when you read a newspaper, because you'll understand how the expression is in the newspaper. Group 1 students compulsorily refer to any one newspaper. It could be Telangana Today, it could be New Indian Express, it could be Siyasat English. I don't know how many of you know that there is Siyasat English. It could be Deccan Chronicle. I'm asking you to pick up these papers because they give a lot of local information, which is important for the group's exams. That is the reason why I'm not asking you to read Hindu. Please read these papers. They will really help you to understand, to pick up the news and also understand the language that is required for your exam. So these are the three basic steps that you have to do. The fourth step is, if you are preparing on your own, please ensure that you get into note making. Note making is very, 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 very important. If you are attending a coaching class, the coaching center is expected to give you complete notes. They have to give you a comprehensive notes for every subject. That is going to be your core of the preparation. Why notes? Imagine, you refer to 3 books for polity. Every time you read polity, you have to go through these 3 books, underline somewhere. It is all cluttered. That way you'll not remember anything, and revisions will take a lot of time. Imagine from these 3 books, you make your own notes. Note making initially will take time, But once you make your own notes, it is easy to revise. And remember, when you're writing something, when you're making your own notes, there is an effort that goes into making it. You use your brain, you use your mind, you try to pick up points which are important. You try to present it in a very lucid way, in a very simple manner, so that you are able to revise faster. You will use a flow chart. When you draw a flow chart related to a particular concept, you remember it better. I use a lot of flow charts in my class, be it polity, society, movement, governance. I use a lot of flow charts, and that helps students to remember. So when you're doing all this exercise, it will help you to retain. If you're preparing on your own, planning to prepare on your own, this is what you have to do. If you're coming to a coaching center, ensure that the coaching center gives you all the notes required. I can, I can very proudly claim that whatever notes we give at Shikara, 80 to 85% of the questions will be from the class notes. I will not guarantee 100 because I am not setting the paper, and there will be inevitably at least 10% of questions which could go off track. But otherwise, the accuracy of the notes that we give has been more than 90%, especially my quality movement society notes. Nothing will come beyond what is being taught. See, because when we teach, we analyze the previous year questions, we analyze the trends, and I not just go through the TSPSC, APPSC papers, I also go through the other state PCS papers, like Bihar is there, Jharkhand is there, Karnataka is there, Assam is there. I go through their papers also. I try to understand what kind of questions are being asked in different competitive exams. I try to see if I'm missing out any points in your notes, if my teachers are missing out any points in the notes. And that is how we give the notes. So if at all you're here, your class notes is very important. You have to ensure that you make your notes. Some faculty give their PPTs. You ensure that you study those PPTs. So this note making is very, very important. And the fifth thing that you have to do is practice questions, PYQs, and practice tests. Okay. Now, what do I mean by this? PYQs, you will get topic wise segregated. See, earlier, about 15, 16 years back, the State Public Service Commission questions were very simple and direct. What, when, where, how, who. This was asked. What happened? When did it happen? Who was there? Where did it happen? And four options you had to select. It was a direct question that was asked. But now the state PCS are also asking questions at par with UPSC. They're repeating the pattern that UPSC has. This gets us to what type of questions you get in exam. So let me first tell you that. In your exam, there are different, first set of questions will be direct. Nearly 40% of your paper will be direct questions. Okay. Direct questions, what do I mean by this? There will be a question. For example, they'll ask you, identify the date on which Jallianwala Bagh incident took place. Okay. So, question, and you have A, B, C, D options. You have to pick one. It's a direct question. The second pattern of questions, I'm talking about MCQs, I'm not talking about mains. The second pattern of questions is statement-based questions. In statement-based questions, what they do is they give statement 1, statement 2, and they'll ask you to identify, this would be two statements. They'll ask you to identify, the options will be 1, 2, 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. This is another option. Okay. In this, for questions like this, you can use elimination method. In some questions, you'll not have two statements. You'll have three statements, and then they'll say 1 and 3, 2 and 3, like this. In some statements, they'll have 4. In some questions, you'll have 4 statements, 5 statements. I have seen up till 5 statements in Telangana Public Service Commission. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 also they can ask, and the options change like this. This is one pattern. Another very important pattern that is emerging thanks to UPSC is where they are giving you 3 or 4 options, and they're saying 1 is correct, 2 is correct, 3 is correct, 4 is correct, or none are correct. This is challenging because here you cannot use elimination method. What do you mean by elimination method? Imagine you have three statements. You know for sure that statement one is incorrect. Okay, and they have asked you to identify the correct statements. Then you will eliminate all those options where you have one as answer. You eliminate all options with one, then you will come across two or one options. Most of the times it will be two. Then you know the second statement is correct. In like this, you eliminate the options and you arrive at the right answer. But here, when they say one is correct, two is correct, three is correct, four is correct, without mentioning the statements, it becomes difficult to use elimination method. For the past 3 years, UPSC has been using this pattern also, and that is the reason why in our practice tests we use this. So this is second type of question. The third type of question is called assertion and reason question. Assertion and reason questions is where they give a statement and they'll ask you whether the reason given is correct for that statement or not. Assertion and reason questions are conceptual. Unless you have conceptual clarity, it is difficult to answer these questions. You should first know whether assertion statement is correct, reason statement is correct. If both these statements are correct, you eliminate two options out of it. Then you have to see whether the assertion is explaining the reason properly. The reason is explaining the assertion properly or not, for which we use a small word. We say because and read both the statements together, you'll be able to make out whether it is correct or wrong. So this is an assertion and reason question. The fourth is pairing. They'll ask you to identify incorrect or correct pairs. Okay. The fifth question is matching. They'll give you list A, list B, and they'll ask you to match. These are the most probable type of questions that are asked in prelims. Now let me get back and MCQs. Let me get back. Remember, when I talk about PYQs, I would suggest practicing UPSC Civil Services IAS exam PYQs. In the market, you will get PYQs segregated subject wise, topic wise. Pick up that book. Whenever you read a topic, try to solve the PYQs that were asked in UPSC. You'll know how questions are being framed. You'll know whether what you have studied, you're able to apply it or not. So it is very, very important that you practice PYQs. Here, what we do at Shikara is for every topic, we give a test. Once the topic is done, the test is uploaded. You can practice that test. You'll get to know whether you are able to apply what is being taught in class or not, whether you are facing any problem in addressing the questions and so on and so forth. And we also track your marks. You will be able to ask the doubts. If you don't agree with the key, there is always a scope to discuss with the teacher as to whether the answer is right or wrong. So PYQs or practice tests are very, very important. Now, apart from this, the next thing that I wanted to tell you in this session is always remember there is a method of learning a subject, and that method has basically we first read, okay, revise, okay, retrieve. These three are very, very important. Recap or retrieve. Now, all of us, any subject, you should first read. Then you have to revise. Revision is a repetition of what you're reading. What do I mean by retrieve or recap? Recap can be done in two ways. One is the recap can be done through the help of solving questions. So one way is solving questions, because solving questions will help you to understand whether you're able to apply what you have read. But more important than solving question is you sit and recollect what you have studied. For example, you have studied a topic. Imagine you have studied 1857 revolt. I am taking history as an example because it is easy for you to relate. I'm sure you all must have heard of the 1857 revolt. So if at all I am teaching 1857 revolt, or I am your student in your place, I'm there and I have studied 1857 revolt, I'll first try to recollect on a paper without looking into the book 1857 revolt. Why did it take place? Okay. When did it start? How did it spread? Because it started in one place, it gradually spread to other places. Okay, what were the various events and who were the various persons involved in this revolt? Okay, what was the end? How did it conclude? And what was the impact of the revolt? This is my structure for a topic. Trust me, give me any topic in any subject, I'll give you a structure like this. When you have this structure in place, you exactly know what you should read for the 1857 revolt. Okay, so when I write this first, then I start recollecting, I start asking myself, why did 1857 revolt take place? What was the trigger for the revolt? I'll start asking myself. See, any revolt will have one point where it starts, but otherwise there will be many other reasons for the revolt. So I'll first understand where it started, why it started, who started it, from one place to the other, what is the sequence in which it spread. I have to sit and recollect without looking into the book. I know this is a very difficult exercise for you initially, but if you are able to do it systematically, this exercise will sharpen your mind. This exercise will help you to understand and remember things better. And trust me, even today I do it. Whenever I come across a new topic, I have to teach something new. Imagine Supreme Court has given a new judgment. I have to take it up in class. I write it. I read it once. I keep the book aside. I write it with my hands on a paper. And once I write it, it is imprinted in my mind. I'm not telling you something that I don't do. I'm telling you something that I frequently do. Trust me, this is going to help you. Recollection is very, very important. See, students, the problem with your generation, your age, where you're preparing is there is a lot of information overdose. What do I mean by information overdose? You have so much of information flowing to you. There are so many YouTube channels, there are so many publications, there are so many papers, there is so much of information flowing to you that you tend to get confused. You don't know what to pick up, what not to pick up. And in the process, you accumulate so much of information, necessary, unnecessary, that you're totally confused. First thing is you have to limit your sources of information. Stick to standard books. Don't unnecessarily take every book that comes into the market. It is not required, because you have to understand that facts don't change. India's date of independence will remain 15th August 1947 in any book under the sky. It will not change. What changes is the way it is expressed. Okay, so limit your resources. This is the first thing that you have to do. The second thing is revise. The more number of revisions, the better. Remember, there is no perfection in competitive exams. Never talk about perfection in competitive exams. Many people will say, let me finish one subject perfectly, then I'll move to the other subject. Let me finish one subject perfectly will never happen, because in the first go, nobody will remember everything perfectly. You have to revise. Remember how you read tables, how you learned tables when you were young. You were made to recite the tables every day until you got them by heart. So you have to revise. More number of revisions, more better. Third, practice. The more you practice, the better. And competitive exams preparation is not about reading books. See, competitive exams, I will never say that clearing group one, group two is very easy. You can just do it like this. You came to us, you're going to get a job. I'll not talk all this. I'll tell you that clearing competitive exams is difficult. Okay, there is a lot of competition. There is a lot of reading that you have to do. But having said this, I will also tell you that if you have a strategy in place, you know how to do what at what time, then cracking competitive exam is easy. And focus on competitive exams is not just when you're reading a book. Every minute that you get time, you have to think about it. For example, today I read a topic. When I'm eating, I should think about that topic. Okay, so like that, if you focus, your focus on that particular work will get you that kind of result. Focus is very, very important, not just for a competitive exam, for succeeding in anything in life. Focus is very important. No deviations. Put your phone on aeroplane mode when you're studying. Otherwise, every 5 minutes you have this tendency of watching your phone. Limit your search on Google, because if you start searching for A, you'll end up with B on Google. So you should be very cautious about all these things. This is what I wanted to basically tell you in today's session, to tell you what is the syllabus, what is the exam pattern. I've not got into the syllabus because, as I said, individual teachers will tell you about the syllabus. This is the exam pattern. This is the method of starting to prepare. Now, please shoot your doubts if you have any doubts. Now, I'll take Shashank's doubt. He was asking me, what about the syllabus change? So let me just answer the question. DI, there is a discussion that they would want to replace DI because DI had a lot of backlash previously. There is also a discussion that there will be minimal changes in Telangana movement and formation. But as far as I understand, any major change in the syllabus will require constitution of a syllabus committee, which I don't see the government doing it. So there could be minimal changes in your syllabus. There won't be any major changes. If at all there are any minimal changes, we'll take care of that. So you don't have to worry about it. Movement ka syllabus, there might be a little change. DI may be partially replaced with areas like ethics and all, but we are not sure of it as of now. We are just waiting for the Public Service Commission to confirm. Any more questions that you would like to ask me? Yes? Any more questions? Prashant, it is very much in the box question. Nothing about notification for now. Nothing about notification for now. I have no idea. I think the government is waiting for the test, for the court judgment to come. But once the notification comes, I know they will not give a lot of time. They would want to complete it at the earliest. So ideally, you should start preparing from now on, because, when the notification comes, the 5-6 months time you have for prelims and mains will not be sufficient. You'll not have be able to manage the preparation. The sooner you start preparing, the better. But according to their calendar, this year there should be a notification. Even after the new TSPSC chairman took over, he said there will be a notification. There is a greater probability that you'll get a notification this year, Shashank. There is a greater probability. I cannot assure because I'm not giving it, but there is a greater probability. Now you can ask me how. One is the Public Service Commission chairman himself said that he's going to come with a calendar. Two, the government in its electoral promise, in its this thing has said that it is going to give a notification every year. Otherwise, also there are vacancies in the government which have been internally identified. So I see a notification coming this year. Unless something badly goes wrong, there should be a notification this year. Any more questions apart from notification? Anything that you would like to ask on the pattern of exam and all that? Yes? Prashant, how will topper copies and topper notes help? I didn't understand. Topper notes and topper copies I do have, but how will they help? Because you have to make your own notes, you have to prepare, you have to write. Tomorrow you should become a topper. Topper notes, I don't really think so, will help. So we can give, we have topper copies with us, but answers, to the extent of answers, will do it. To the extent of answers, will do it. Toppers notes, what is the relevance of toppers notes? How to make notes? You have to make your own notes. Tomorrow, when I do the polity orientation, I'll tell you how to make notes for each of them. So don't worry, I'll tell you how to go ahead with that. Any other questions that you would like to ask me? Please go on. This course, for the first 3-4 days, we will be talking about the syllabus. We will be talking about the syllabus. Then we will start with history, sciences. First, we will have 2 sessions per day. Then we are going to increase it to 3 sessions per day. The duration that we give is 6 to 7 months. Shashank, for only moment, please wait until June 2nd. There is going to be an announcement on June 2nd for that. Module wise will be there, but for a fresher, module wise will not work. It's better you go for the full course if you are planning to go. But if you're not a fresher, then you can go for module wise. Any more questions that you want to ask me? 6 to 7 months is the duration that we are looking at to complete this course. You're referring to the prelims test series or the mains test series, iPhone, the MCQ test or the mains test series. Mains test series will also be announced on June 2nd. MCQs we are going to upload topic wise, subject wise. MCQs we are going to upload subject wise. Next month onwards, these will start. Any more questions? Telangana movement classes in this batch will start after a week, Prashant. We're going to start it after a week. That's what I told now. First 2 subjects will start, then we will start. The third subject will start. The third subject, in all likelihood, will be Telangana movement. By the end of the orientation sessions, you'll also get the rough batch plan. Don't worry. Anything else apart from this? Okay. Thank you so much for joining today's session. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to start with Indian polity. I'm going to explain the entire syllabus of Indian polity tomorrow. I'm going to tell you the breakup of the syllabus, how to prepare, how to make your notes, from where should you read if you're preparing on your own. I'm going to tell you the importance of polity, what kind of questions will be asked and all this. So tomorrow's session link again will be sent. 10:30 you'll have the session. Am I clear with this? Okay. I hope to see you all in the live session tomorrow at 10:30. Thank you. Bye-bye.